Speaking of a shame, though.
Oh God.
Your boy Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins went to the closet.
Now I gotta go look at the rest of his stuff.
I checked that conversation earlier, so.
Yeah, Seth Rollins found himself a nice, thick, old soapbox. And he stepped up on there this past week, and he made his thoughts clear. Now, I have heard some people agree, and I heard a lot of people disagree with what Seth Rollins had to say. So we're going to give our opinions on the whole Seth Rollins thing right now, because I have a couple issues with it. So apparently Seth Rollins, who is the Universal Champion right now, he felt as though that he needs to fight back for the company that he represents, which I don't understand why that needs to be a thing. He called out Dean Ambrose for the comments he made on Talk Is Jericho and on Wade Keller, and make it seem as though that he shutting down the company that gave him so much.
Yeah.
And then people were sitting talking about like, so wait, what? What's the case? And then Seth, I'm trying to see if I can pull up the actual thing that he said.
I was trying to also, and then I got this. Maria announces she's pregnant and asks the man to impregnate her next time. I'm confused.
Well, Seth Rollins said that WWE is the best wrestling on the planet. Now, I'm not going to disagree with Seth Rollins because he's the Universal Champion for a company that he represents. Mm-hmm. But he also, when he was talking about that, made the comments of Dean Ambrose taking his ball and going home. And I'm like,
bro, what?
I don't know why you even think that about Dean Ambrose, your friend.
I feel like that's probably something that they probably told him to add in there or something. Because I just don't feel like he would personally say that. And they had a long talk and everything. I don't know. That just don't seem like something he'd do.
That's what I was wondering. I was like, is this supposed to be you in character, or are you really you and you just being a heel and being a dick right now? Or
but he's not a heel.
Is he not?
No.
So he's just being a dick right now.
I was saying, because Seth Rollins is not a heel.
Okay. Well,
Seth Rollins is a babyface. Going against Baron Corbin? Yes, Seth Rollins is a babyface.
You could have fooled me, because this doesn't seem like something I would go out and say, especially now when you know that in the age where everything you say and do is up for scrutiny on social media.
Yes.
So.
But he didn't delete no tweets. They're still up there for the stuff that, he tweeted. So, I was like, so Seth Rollins, who has been handled as one of the top guys in the business since the Shield came up, even in NXT. Dean Ambrose was never one of those guys. Mm-hmm. And he made the comment saying that if you want to leave, that's fine, but make sure that you've done everything you possibly could in this company to be that top guy. And then if you can look in the mirror and you're content with that, then you can go. Once again, Dean and Seth had two different paths in the WWE. And like I said, I don't criticize guys who want to go to WWE and try to, get on TV and, want to do their road schedule. But then I can't blame the guys who it's not working out for them and they want to leave.
Yeah.
And Dean Ambrose, and what is getting me is Dean Ambrose never said anything disparaging about WWE. He talked about one person, Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
And talked about his experience with dealing with Vince McMahon and how hard it was for him to deal with Vince McMahon. He never came at Seth Rollins. He never came at The Shield. He never came at Roman Reigns. He never came at any other people. He just said, look, I'm going to sit here and I had ideas. I had this. I had this. I had this. Of everything that was supposed to happen with Dean Ambrose that was in there, and they did not just look at him as one of those top characters. Did he win the WWE Championship? Of course he did. And then, of course, the whole Stone Cold podcast was a whole mess.
Oh, yeah.
And that has, Stone Cold said, that has haunted him since it happened. And once again, all this stuff is not Dean's fault. You know, and for him to make comments like that, you know, it felt as though it felt very bitter, I guess.
I don't know if I would call it bitter. I feel like it feels more misinformed and kind of, it's like you are at a spot right now where you're a top guy in the company and they obviously think they can take you and run with it. Mm-hmm. But you were here right beside me when I was going through all of this. It'd be different if you were on the outside looking in completely. Like, he's at a totally different promotion or whatever. But you worked here with me. We were in... we worked together for years. Like, you know what happened with me and my character. So, for him to say that just felt more like... Kind of like how I was saying with Matt Riddle and Booker T. It kind of felt like, you know how people read the headline and don't read the whole article. It felt like, I get the comments he made felt more like he couldn't be bothered to listen to the whole interview, so he just took the tidbits or the quotes that came out and went with that, and it was just like, but that doesn't sound like the interview I listened to, because it's like we listened to the interview, I listened to with you, and I was just like, okay, it sounds like somebody who was at a job, it could be any job for real, that it didn't work out, and they're like, look, I appreciate the opportunity you gave me, but it didn't work out for me, so I'm gonna go move on to something else that seems like it will work better for me. The end. I mean, it's one thing if he was making up stuff that couldn't be corroborated by other people, but there are several people asking for their release at this point, or just waiting out contracts because they have nothing to do with them. So it's not like he's the only one in this whole entire company who had a bad run and was just like, well, I'm going home and literally taking my ball and leaving. You got guys who are good, guys who are fair, all kinds of stuff, and guys who are just going to be, you know, jobbers for the rest of their career, all dissatisfied. So it's not even like it's just one type of person. I don't know. It felt really... I don't know. It felt weird because it was like, why would you do that?
You're right.
Like, you had no reason to.
And it got even more weird because Seth Rollins makes a tweet saying, doubling down, best pro wrestling on the planet. See that Cruiserweight triple threat, which, by the way, was a good triple threat match. And that's just one night, one match amongst the many. Find anyone else alive who does what I do as well as I do it, as often as I do it. You can't. Hashtag Stomping Grounds Universal Champion. But then Will Ospreay text says, I'm alive.
That was funny to me, bro. Yeah. I'm alive. And that's it.
And then Seth Rollins tweets back, I'm sorry, little guy. We already have a better version of you here, and he just won his first U.S. title tonight. Congrats, King Ricochet. Keep working hard through buddy. And then
how did he call him a little guy? They like the same weight.
Yes. Yep. I'm like, bro, you're not. Please.
So. Hold on. Let's see. Will Ospreay says, "Love you adding stuff, don't you? I mean, the original question was, find anyone else alive who does what I do, as well as I do, as often as I do. No talk of money, no talk of Ricochet. You say anyone. I am here. Just as consistent, just as good. Hope the back heals up." And then Seth Rollins says, I mean, if you want to talk numbers, we can compare bank accounts too. P.S. That's counting a month off with a broken back, buddy. So, what? Anybody been in school before, right? Mm-hmm. And anytime somebody's in a debate or argument, or they're making fun of somebody, and the one thing that somebody may have over somebody that has nothing to do with the conversation, they pull that up.
They pull it out.
You know how many countries I've been in, and then somebody talks about, I get more pussy than you do. This got nothing to do
with it.
What I'm talking about.
I say, bro, I said I got an A on this paper. What does that have to do with anything?
Exactly. They gotta pull up something that makes it. I know somebody in my phone that does that. So, when he says, "Look, because my bank account is bigger," I'm like, "See, you're going to the Trump card because you ain't got nothing else.
That right there, that tweet alone reminded me of all the new age rap battles, where it's like, oh, anybody from the mid 2000s back will come to these new kids and be like, I can out rap you any day, but I get banned, and I'm like, that has nothing to do with what I just said. Can you rap?
Yes.
No? Okay. Well, we're moving on. Like, it was just like, that doesn't make any sense, bruh. Like, why did you pull that out? Because you had nothing else to say? I don't know. Somebody was like, Becky need to give Seth Rollins his phone back. Because you know she out here tweeting for him. She be throwing daggers on Twitter. Like, maybe it was her. I don't know. Because he obviously was in over his head on that one.
So, the question is, I'm sitting thinking to myself, like, somebody made this comment. I was listening to Solomon Sounds Off, and he said, this is the result of Seth Rollins cracking under pressure. Because when you're the top guy, your friend has left, and the same thing happened with Shawn Michaels and Eddie Guerrero. Mm-hmm. When they were the champion, the ratings weren't high. Yeah. And nobody was watching the show, and they kept dropping off people, and then they was at their worst. The company was at their worst. Mm-hmm. And when Shawn Michaels was the champion, he could not put no asses in no seats. Shawn Michaels was one of the greatest of all time. Mm-hmm. But when he had his championship run in '96, when he beat Bret Hart, it did not move the needle. Yeah. Eddie Guerrero, one of the greatest of all time, when he won a championship in 2004. Great moment, but he wanted to give up the championship so bad because the pressure of being a champion weighed on him.
Yeah, they got the hardest schedule out of everybody. That's kind of why AJ Styles wanted to give it up, because he went home. He couldn't, just was unhappy.
It's hard to do, especially when you're the top guy and the ratings for the show that you're supposed to be on is not selling anything.
Yeah, it all falls on you.
It falls on you.
Even if it's not all your fault.
Exactly. So, with that being said, Seth Rollins had the pressure. It felt like the pressure was cracking up on him a little bit, and he felt as though that he needed to fight back.
Yeah, you gotta stir the pot a bit.
And but once again, this war that everybody, people, it's like, whatever happened to an opinion?
Yeah. Whatever happened to healthy competition?
There is none.
I don't think, because I really feel like the fact that WWE has monopolized mainstream wrestling for so long is just like, now that it's not, nobody knows how to handle it. Mm-hmm. The company, the workers, the fans, nobody knows how to handle it. It's like, we gotta pick a side. I'm like, you don't. You can watch both. It's really not that. It's not that deep. You gotta. Healthy competition keeps you on your toes. Mm-hmm. But I don't think anybody knows how to handle it at this point. I mean, when you haven't really had anybody to go against in the last almost 2 decades at this point, what do you do?
You're right. We can exclude those 3 weeks from TNA.